Welcome to the All Jammed Up podcast presented to you by Music Never Stopped. Today is Monday, August 11th, and today on the podcast we have local Asheville musician Jimi Lang.
What are you doing, podcast for Lot?
Yeah.
Come be on a Lot podcast.
Yeah, hell yeah, All Jammed Up.
This dude's doing a podcast. If you want to be on some podcast, come give an interview.
Hell yeah.
All
Good morning, fools. Welcome to the All Jammed Up podcast. I'm your host, Clint Dotson. I hope you guys all had a great weekend. Looks like there was a lot of good music this weekend. The Widespread show looked awesome. That Billy show on Saturday in Minneapolis was like one of the most fire set lists I've seen from him in a while. And Chloe and I are going to talk about that in Chloe's Corner on Thursday and maybe play a fun game, so stay tuned for that. But today's episode is with local Asheville musician Jimi Lang. He's in a project called J-Lad. Jimi Lang's Almost Doors is a Doors cover band that he does. And he has a couple other projects he's working on too that we talk about. But Jimmy's wanted to come on the podcast for a while, and I told him we would. But local guys I kind of saved for when I was in a pinch. And I was in a pinch, and he came through. And it was a great interview, man. He was a really cool guy. We talk about some Jim Morrison conspiracies, him meeting Derek Trucks when he was a kid. And if you're on YouTube, the last few minutes are blurry for some reason. I can't really figure it out. The software I use has kind of been bugging on me, so I'm going to look into getting something different. But just bear with me today. And yeah, guys, let's get right into it. Interview with Jimi Lang.
Hey, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the
Everybody
procedure,
stay calm.
everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm.
Alrighty, guys, we are here today with Jimmy from Jimi Lang's Almost Doors. Are you in any other projects?
Yeah, I'm kind of working on a few right now, actually. A couple different things. Got a lot going on.
Okay. And you're an Asheville musician now, but you're not from Asheville originally, right?
No, not originally. I'm from Raleigh originally.
Cracky's Juice. Shout out One World.
Woo, One World.
Cheers.
Do it again. Do it again. Sorry, I got rushed.
So we talked way back when about doing the podcast, and then I was like, yeah, you're local, so when I need someone in a pinch, I'll hit you up. And I've been fortunate enough where I've been keeping my calendar pretty full.
I've been paying attention.
But it finally worked out that my schedule freed up and got you on, man. So
I'm glad you're doing your thing, man. It's great. You know, these podcasts. I've seen a lot of people do podcasts, and then some of them are, I like that you're keeping yours focused on the music and all that local stuff. That's great, man.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I want to do like a lot of local, but obviously you need like the bigger names to get the following.
It always happens.
But the local people, it's fun, and it's the people I know. So usually those conversations are better, I feel like.
Yeah, it always works.
Some of the time.
Yeah, well, as long as you don't just keep getting the same things all the time.
Yeah.
You know how it is. You talk to musicians, it's always, everybody has that same story. Like, I try to do the thing over here, but, that thing. And it's like, people like to, program their existence through the music and rock and roll and that kind of thing. Like, I got to look cool, man. I got to look cool.
Yeah.
And my thing was always like, throw a little chaos in there. Look a little crazy. It's okay to look like a crazy person.
Yeah. Speaking of crazy, where's your top hat today?
Oh, I didn't bring it. Yeah. Well, it's actually in the car. I actually always carry it. It's always in the car. I have two, though. I have several. One of them, the red one that everybody sees me wearing all the time, that was like a prototype.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But it's lasted way longer than I expected it to, which is hilarious. So I just keep wearing it. But it's made out of, recycled yoga mats.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I found all over Asheville because for a couple of years, everybody was doing a lot of yoga stuff everywhere. And I kept going, and there's always this big thing of fresh yoga mats. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to grab some of those. And
That's the big red one, like the black.
yeah, the big red one with
Okay.
the felt,
Yeah.
the velvet
I'll have
top.
to check that out now next time. I didn't know it was from yoga mats.
Yeah, the yoga mats, and since it's that that rubbery plastic stuff.
Yeah.
Whatever it's called, I can't remember the name of it. But yeah, so it's waterproof. So stays waterproof.
Stays
keeps your
yeah.
head, and they don't really test you when you go to venues. They're like, what's under your top hat? Like, once in a while they do, but usually I'll have like a, little puppet, rabbit sewn in, pop it out, and they're like, oh, that's cute. And they just wipe me in. They don't check under the rabbit.
I feel like the venues, most of the time, they're like, we know what's going on.
We don't care.
They don't care. Yeah. As long as you're not being an asshole about it.
Yeah.
Which I feel like drinking's worse. Like most people are assholes when they're drinking, not when they're taking psychedelics or something.
Yeah, you see people on videos and stuff, and they're like, I saw one the other day. It was like on, I don't know, TikTok or one of those things, but guy was like wearing like, it was like the 70s, right? He's like wearing his bell-bottom pants. I don't wear bell-bottoms all the time, but he's wearing his bell-bottom pants. He comes into the concert and he lifts up his pants, and he got like bottles all up in his socks,
Yeah.
And like, that's how we used to get them. That's why we wore bell-bottoms, I was like, yeah, well, you should probably quit telling everybody.
Don't ruin the secret.
Don't tell everybody the secrets, man, because then,
And they're not secrets anymore.
well, the more protections, the more tyranny, right?
Yeah. So you grew up in Raleigh, right?
Yeah. Grew up in
And then you moved here how long ago?
Okay, so, we, the first time I came here was around 1990,
Okay.
right? So, I'd been playing in music in Raleigh for a long time, since I was like 12, right? Playing bass. My mom played bass.
Bass guitar, like
Yeah,
stand-up
bass guitar,
Okay.
yeah. Electric bass. And my uncle played drums, my other uncle played guitar, my grandfather played guitar when he wasn't in the war or whatever, and my grandmother played piano, sang. They all sang. They had a family band, go play Holiday Inns and stuff, when they needed money. And so I was always around music.
Yep.
So just growing up, and parents loved it. My mom and them, my aunts, they loved the disco thing. So it was like that groove was already heavy,
Yep.
And then the funk and the Motown and all that stuff. I love that stuff, right? And so I was playing already, and then of course you rebel, right? And start going away from what your parents were doing. We always do that. You go away to go find out the craziest thing from far away, which is metal, right? Heavy metal, AC/DC and stuff. I had the 4 tracks.
Yep.
And so I started playing that kind of.
What kind of music were your parents playing? And like your family?
Yeah, they were playing mostly like I remember one song they'd always play. My uncle would always play. He'd come over there, is like bad Leroy Brown.
Okay.
He was doing like those old top 40s from their period of time, right? And so they'd play those, whatever in the Holiday Inns and stuff. So it was always top, the top 40 stuff that was going on in their time. A lot of beach music stuff, a lot of the Motown things. Elvis, my uncle was an Elvis impersonator. And he loved it, man. Of course he had a beard for some reason. I don't know, I guess but he wasn't a fat Elvis. He was a skinny Elvis, but
Skinny Elvis with a beard.
It was interesting.
Not the best Elvis impersonator.
Yeah, it was interesting. But he'd have like the whole get up, and he had a really good voice. I mean, he could sing just like Elvis.
Yeah.
And he did a recording, paid for a recording session, did an album. But I don't have that anymore. I don't know what happened to it. But yeah, he was into that, and so everybody had their little thing. My uncle's playing rock and roll drums, and he played with a few people, but not too much. But then I started going and hanging out at like the Berkeley Cafe in Raleigh, which was totally different from what it is now. But I don't even know what it is. It's actually Sadillacs now, or Sadillacs used to be on Hillsborough Street, and it got moved over there to where Berkeley was, because Berkeley closed down or something. I don't know what's going on over there in Raleigh anymore.
Yeah.
But I used to go to Berkeley because it was a really well-known blues place. And so I was trying to, study up on the blues and that kind of thing. So I'd go hang out with all those guys. Mm-hmm. And that was fun, And then I wanted to move here. So anyway, the first time, what happens after I got all into that music and everything, a friend of mine, and I was doing a metal thing, and a friend of mine, he said, "Hey, take me to I want to take you to a Grateful Dead show." And I didn't really know much about them.
And when was this?
That was like 1989.
Okay.
About midsummer.
Okay.
And I was like, whatever, man. Okay, sure. I ain't doing nothing. So I went there, and as soon as I got there, I was like, oh, shit, here's my people.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't even know this existed. You know what I mean? Because they don't put it on the radio or anything like that.
Yeah, and there's no like social media or anything at that time.
There was
so,
none of that.
Yeah.
Nobody had pictures when I was playing, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you know, I was like, so I said, well, this is it. So I just went on tour from right then. That first show, I just stayed on tour,
Okay.
you know, and then stayed on there about a year, and then about 90 when they were taking a break and going over to Germany and all that.
Yep.
That's when I was like, okay, so I can't go there. I don't have the money.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'll just come back to Raleigh or something, I guess. I don't know. But then what happened was a friend was like, well, listen, I heard so many people were gathering up there at, at Asheville, because at the time, you know, the government was going to sell the whole city because the whole place was shut down.
And this is 1990. They're going to sell Asheville.
They were going to sell Asheville to the government because
Okay.
it was like the whole thing was all boarded up. Everything was boarded up downtown. The only person that really had anything going on was like the top shoes guy. He was like, he kept buying up all the buildings.
Yeah,
you know?
that's why there's that building downtown. It's like three entrances. Yeah.
He's like, that was genius for him, you know. But yeah, and like all the houses over in Montford, they were all, you know,
Vacant.
dilapidated,
Yeah.
just bad places. I could have had the money back then because I was already doing stuff to have a lot of money,
Yeah.
you know, from touring and stuff, grilled cheese sandwiches and things, you know.
Yeah. And thanks.
Yeah. So when I came in town, I had some of you know, those grilled cheeses and things and on me, and everybody was here kind of hanging out, but everything was dead. You had Vincent's Ear coffee shop, and then you had Be Here Now, and that was about it. You know, and you had this other little coffee shop that was like a big open space, but and that was about it. You know, you just kind of walked to those street faces every once in a while. First day I walked in town, I met Screaming Jays.
Okay.
Right. Well, they were not Screaming Jays at the time. They were the Blue Rags, right? So,
And is that a band?
yeah, the
Okay.
Blue Rags. They were pretty well known. Like they're mixed up between a bunch of guys, but they were pretty big. They were started bringing the town kind of together, you know, bringing that hippie vibe to the town. It was kind of already coming there, but it was sporadic.
Do you know where that came from? Like were the hippies somewhere else and then came here first, or was it just kind of like a congregation of all over?
Well, I think it came from because you had the Warren Wilson School going on, and the Warren Wilson College, and AB Tech and stuff, and it was kind of, and that kind of element was kind of coming in with the artistics and the music from Warren Wilson, and so it was the art school that actually started bringing it in,
Bringing like younger people, counterculture, that kind of thing.
that kind of culture, and then because you had because Warren Wilson at the time was a super hippie teacher college.
Okay.
Right. I could tell you some stories, but it was interesting. So anyway, I was hanging out there, a friend of mine that was going to school there. I met her, and then I started, you know, came into town and found some friends that were from tour hanging out, and I was like, okay. So I just started hanging out with them, you know, and they were doing like stained glass windows for the churches,
Nice.
you know, making stained glass windows from scratch. We just take a bunch of glass, smash it, and start like, you know, soldering it all together.
Yeah, how do you stain it?
Well, you know, we were finding like glass. We were finding already colored glass,
okay,
and
gotcha,
then just
gotcha. Putting it
smashing
together,
smashing it, putting it together, just
Gotcha.
having fun, being creative weirdos. You know, getting really high off grilled cheese sandwiches. Yeah, and so you know, they're all like, one day, you know, we were all sitting there, and they're like, you know, how do you wake up a town? You know, and I was, well, that's easy. You know, here, you know, eat this grilled cheese, you know, and grab those drums, you know, and we'll go have a drum circle, right? So we took 8 people, went down to the downtown. It was all dead. We walked by Pritchard Park, and they were like, we should do it here. And I was like, nah, it's kind of cool, but nah.
Yeah.
I was like, you got to go to the highest part, because if you go to the highest part in the city, it will echo through all those, everything, right? So we went up there to Vance Monument, we started playing, and about an hour later, we had 150 drums out there. And I was just in the spur of the moment,
Yeah.
right? And everybody was like, holy crap. And they're like, we should, oh, man, this is crazy. I was like, yeah, let's do it every Friday. They were like, okay, you know. So everybody started doing it every Friday, and then after after the Grateful Dead came back, the first shows back from over there were like California or something. I was like, all right, see you later, So I stayed for maybe a couple of months, and then I was like, all right, bye,
Yeah.
And so then I headed out and went back on tour, and just spent most of my time doing that until '94.
Yep.
And I was like, then that whole heroin scene started coming back in, and I was like, all right, see you later.
So you had never even listened to or heard the Grateful Dead till you first saw them in
Till I
89?
first saw them, yeah.
Okay, and then when you got into them, did you like go back and start listening to like 70s and early?
Oh man, yeah.
Yeah.
Music has always been there,
Yeah.
like it's just something you grow up with. If you grow up with it and you're always listening to that thing. Like I played bass in a Shaw University church, black church,
Yeah.
Which I don't really call them black people. They're just people.
Yeah.
To me, people with darker skin color. All right, fantastic. But you're fantastic, and I played in those churches, funk bass and stuff like that. And so that really learned my thing. Is learning how to play bass really taught me the basis foundations of everything else. Musically wise. If you can hold the beat, you can hold the time, you can follow everything else.
Okay.
You
And then were you listening to the Doors? When did you start listening to the Doors?
Oh, so I'd listened to Doors before
Okay.
any of the Grateful Dead
Gotcha,
stuff.
gotcha. So
right?
you've always been big on the Doors.
Yeah, I started on the Doors, when I first got that first record,
Okay.
It was, it was actually not their first record. It wasn't their first record. It was actually a Strange Days album. And so that was crazy for me because it just opens up this, oh man, what is this? And it was totally different from anything else, It was different. I mean, it still had, the Doors always had this little, to me, first, a lot of their albums, especially like the LA Woman and stuff, they had, that was like 71, right? So, they had that Motown vibe, because they were doing, you had like, Music's Over, right? Or Soul Kitchen. Soul Kitchen is like, it's basically, after midnight.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same chord structure.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so we even do that sometimes. We'll throw in after midnight, in the middle of it. And everybody's like, "What?"
That's funny.
Yeah, so we do mashups and stuff. We like to do mashups in the band.
What do you think it was or is about the Doors that like drew you so much to them?
I like. Well, okay, so you look at it and it's like, okay, so if I mix it between Grateful Dead and the Doors, right? So that to me that would be almost like like the William Blake thing, because I was always a heavy reader into poetry and things, and so like I read a lot of William Blake, so and that's always about chaos and death. It's about that Apollonian and Dionysus duality, right?
Yeah.
So Apollonia, Apollo, he's all very organized. He likes to have fun, but he's like organized and everything. And Dionysus, he just like, I just want to absorb everything. I don't care how it comes in. It's chaos, great, and bring it in. And I think that kind of mixes well. The Doors were kind of like that. It was like you have this steady groove thing, and then all of a sudden, boom, they're somewhere else off in a tangent for no reason. And I don't know if they were really trying to do that or if they were just following with Jim's voice when they were doing it. So sometimes when I'm singing at the house without any music behind me, doing his voice, I just kind of feel like, it feels like a Motown song.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it just goes, and this other weird Frank Sinatra tangent, because that was one of his biggest things was he loved Frank Sinatra, right? So
Jim Morrison?
yeah, he loved his voice. And so he was always trying to be that crooner guy, right?
Yeah.
And
Jim Morrison was like super young when the Doors started, right?
yeah.
Okay. How old was he?
I think he was about 16 when he
Okay.
first started singing with him.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know too. I know like, the like,
He might have been a little older. I think he was about 18.
okay.
18, 19.
I know the well-known songs like Break On Through and People Are Strange, Love Me Two Times, that stuff, but I don't know like too much about the like early stuff or really anything other than the hits. You know how like the Grateful Dead has like the lore with like the Cornell didn't happen and like stuff like that, and Fish has like Game Hinge. Does the Doors have like any like deep fan lore like that?
Oh, they have
Yeah?
a lot of fan lore.
Like what?
Well, one, there's a documentary that says, Jim Morrison's still alive and lives in
Okay,
Syracuse.
I've heard that one with like Tupac or something.
Yeah. I think that guy's just independent film guy wanting to make making a film or whatever, and that's cool. Whatever, do your thing. Yeah, they have a lot of lore. So there's like the idea that he didn't really die in the bathtub. He died down the street in a bar doing heroin in the bathtub, and then they dragged him over there to his house. Then there's the other one where he didn't really die, he faked his death. And it's interesting because when I started doing this Doors thing, which is about 10 years, 11 years back, I'd never done the Doors before, band-wise, singing-wise or anything. I mean, I'd sing a few of their songs once in a while, but nothing to this extent. To where, like, certain shows, I start meeting, a redheaded girl comes up to me and says, "Hey, I'm the reincarnation of Pamela." And I'm like, "Oh, okay.
Whatever you say.
Don't leave your drugs on the table. I might do them." Yeah. But, yeah. So you'll run into these crazy things, and then people always give me these Doors gifts or these Doors, like, "I got this Doors book from blah, blah, blah time," or this Doors poster or this shirt, And I'm like, "Oh, you don't have to give it to me."
He died young too, didn't he, Jim?
Yeah, he died at
27?
27 years old, the
Okay.
27 Club.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It's crazy when like musicians like him die so young, and like Jimi Hendrix, and they did so much in like such a little time.
So
It makes,
fast.
yeah, it makes you think like what would have happened if they.
Well, I think that's also a part of the machine, right?
What do you mean by that?
The musical machine,
Okay.
right? You're talking about these. They were pushing these guys,
Yeah.
like once you're famous and you got your thing on the hit. Now we're gonna sell it to the world, and they jump in, and that's when the
More,
money
more,
machine
more.
comes
Yeah.
in, and now you're running and running and running. And especially with the Doors, you created this mythos personality, right? This mysterious mythos personality, this
Yeah.
wild man. And that's what they always advertise him as this wild man. He's starting to blah, blah, blah. Now that's always going to get people to want to go see what's going on.
Yeah.
And so they were just pushing that, and pushing it, and pushing it. And it ended up, taking over him, and that's when he started getting tired of it, and getting all the other trouble.
I mean, yeah, you see it with like, I mean, Jerry Garcia obviously didn't die young, but like similar thing, and like, I mean, maybe you could say the same for like Trey Anastasio in like the late '90s. Like,
Yeah.
maybe he was feeling the same, and I think that like people do it to Billy Strings, but he's like sober, seems to have a good head in his shoulders. But it seems like some of these guys, the fans just put like on too high of a pedestal, and the pressure of that's got to be pretty
It
hard
is.
to handle. Yeah.
It would be, it'd be crazy to handle that kind of pressure, without,
And when you're 25, you have all that money. Like the first thing you're gonna do is drink and do drugs, I would assume.
well, that's the biggest problem is like, okay, so this is the problem you hear about musicians most of the time, especially this kind of stuff. It's called downtime, right? So you're on tour, you're going and 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 you're going, and now you're off tour and you have nothing to do, but you have all this money.
Yeah, and even like when they're on tour, like you're just in a van for so much of a day, or you're backstage. Your shows are only 3 hours long. Like you still have to fill the other
Yeah.
15, 16 hours of your day because, I mean, these guys are partying a lot, not really sleeping. So what are you going to do with that time? I mean, I know what I would do if I had a bunch of money and I was 25 years old.
Well, yeah, I'm sure that goes on. And you got people that, hand you drugs and hand you anything you want. Especially when you're that big.
Yeah.
But, I've always told musicians, okay, I've met quite a few of them growing up. I met Derek Trucks when he was 12. He came to I was working at this place. What was the name of that place? Got some jazz club, kind of blues jazz club in Raleigh, but right by the bus stop. It was interesting. A friend of mine's mom owned it, Victoria. She was awesome, awesome lady. Anyway, he came in there and played with his uncle. He was playing with his uncle at that time, Butch Trucks. And so I was upstairs in the green room with him, hanging out. I was like, "Listen, you are really talented, man." And I said, "You're 12." I said, you already grew up in the Allman Brothers. You kind of know how it goes. I was like, "But just be careful because they're gonna be all up you. Everybody's gonna be up you. They're gonna offer you this, offer you that, offer you this, give you that. Everything's free, free ride, free ride, free ride." And I was like, I told him, I said, "Just remember two things." See, I always say it's a joke, but it's true. I said, just remember two things. Turn yourself into an LLC, right? Mm-hmm. Always protect yourself. And two, marry an older woman. I'm glad he did. That was cool.
Yeah, he listened to you.
Yeah, I didn't know he was going to marry his, guitar teacher, but that's okay.
Was she his guitar teacher?
I've heard that, so I don't know.
Okay.
But I don't know for sure.
Some more lore.
Yeah, same old stuff.
People say that Derek Trucks is like the best guitar player in the world right now.
I think he's incredible.
Yeah?
Like, the way he plays slide, I've never heard anyone.
I've never seen them live. I'd really like to see them live. I wanted to go when they played Asheville not that long ago, but it sold out so quick.
Saw him a couple times. I saw him when he was young, and then I saw him when he was a little older with Tedeschi and Trucks. It was where was it? It was our anniversary.
Okay.
Yeah, not Lollapalooza, but Bonnaroo. Mm. It was like one of those years. That was like the year they had Led Zeppelin. Robert Plant with the blah blah blah, and you had like the Doobie incident. That was crazy.
Nice. Yeah, that was probably cool. What's your favorite show that you've like ever seen? You think? Is there one that like really sticks out to you?
The one I always remember the most, man, is RFK '90, man. Just because it's crazy, and that whole year was just crazy too. Getting bomb maced in Florida.
Was that the one? RFK, was that the one they broke down the?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You were there for that one?
Yeah.
Was it a good show as far as music?
Oh, it was a great show.
Yeah.
Music was awesome.
That was when like they sent out the letter. They were like, after. Okay.
Yeah, I got that bootleg in the car.
Really?
I play it all the time. But the '90s bootleg.
That's
and
cool.
You can still hear stuff going on, but it's fun. And then.
And how old are you then?
I was about. Well, I'm 53, so
okay.
I was
33 years ago. So you're 20?
Yeah, I was about 20. 19,
nice.
20.
That's cool.
Yeah, perfect age for going on tour.
Yeah. Seriously, you found them at the right time.
Well, I was pretty smart too. I knew how to get money.
Yeah. Well, now looking back on the Dead, do you have like a specific era of the Dead that you like the most, or is it that late 80s, early 90s?
I just love that Brent, man.
Yeah.
I like Brent, and when he gets excited, and, it's like, wow, okay, there you go, and he gets that high pitch. He's like starts, struggling in his voice. I love it.
What do you think about Dead & Co?
Oh man, I love,
Okay.
So here's the thing. I've always been like this musically. I'm like, it's not my band, right? And you're entitled to do whatever you want to with your band, right? And I think they did a great job.
Yeah.
You brought in a lot of people that had never been, because they didn't do that back in the day. They didn't bring in the people like that.
Yeah.
They weren't trying to recruit those young people to come in.
Are sit-ins like a more modern thing? Like people sitting in, or did that happen back then as well?
Oh, I think people always sat in.
Okay.
Yeah.
But just being like bringing a whole new band in wasn't something that really happened back then.
No.
Okay.
But I mean, you always had sit-ins.
I guess, yeah, because like Bob Dylan sat in a bunch with the Dead.
But you didn't always have like the cameras rolling, and that kind of stuff, because you didn't have all the, it wasn't as easy as it is today. Everybody's got a camera.
Everybody, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I hear a lot of guys who saw the Dead, and then they're like, "Oh, Dead & Co. is an abomination," blah blah blah, and it's like they're keeping it alive.
That's just bias.
Yeah, and I never saw the Dead, so like they will tell me the same thing. Like you don't get it because you didn't see it. And it's like, I would like to think that I get it. Like I think that I understand like the importance of the music. And no, I didn't see Jerry Garcia play, but like I've seen the only iteration of the Dead that I can see because I wasn't alive, you know. So I think that's like a silly argument, but I'm always intrigued by it and why people feel that way.
Seeing Jerry and meeting Jerry was magical.
You met Jerry?
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
I was this was like the same tour, 91. This is 91 actually. This is after. So it was 91. And I forgot. I think it was around Deer Creek area. I can't remember. But I was staying far away from the Coliseum. I was in another town, right? Because I had grilled cheeses.
Yeah, of course.
And so I was staying in a totally different area. And then they just kind of happened to be coming in and staying at the same place.
Okay.
And so I was already in the bar. They came walking in the bar. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah. But I didn't really act at all. I didn't act all, whoa.
Yeah.
I just kept my cool, you know. And they kind of looked over. And I was like, oh, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
You know, I had tie-dye on everything, of course. But, you know, they were like, oh, you know, I was like, no, it's cool.
They knew that you knew.
Yeah,
but
they knew
were
I
like,
knew.
But they were like, we're gonna take
Really,
it
it's
easy.
cool.
Yeah.
You know, and so, you know, I just sat there and chilled, and we were just like, oh, hey, man. And I was like, hey, man, you know, can't wait to see your show. Or, you know?
Yeah.
And then I just left, you know. I didn't want to get involved and bother them or anything.
Yeah, that's a weird thing when you meet. I feel like if you would have asked me a year ago, I'd be like, oh, it'd be so cool to meet famous guys. And now, like, I had Andy Frasco here for an interview, and I was like, he's just a person. They don't want to be hounded or anything.
No,
Yeah.
it's not even like that. It's just you want to be. It's so weird because you want to be accepted.
Yeah.
As a musician, you want to be accepted. You want to be liked. You want your music liked. You want your art liked. You know.
Mm-hmm.
But that's all the ego stuff.
Yeah.
See, what I always like to say is, it's not about me.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I tell guys in the band. It's not about us. It's about the audience.
Yeah.
Right? It's about them. And they have worked all freaking week, 80 hours a week, 90 hours a week, just to get food, water, shelter.
Mm-hmm.
They're coming and they're dealt with all this crap from all these people. And they just want to come to the show and have a good time. And they want a good show.
Yeah.
Right? Now, being in the doors, some people expect me to get all political and stuff. And I do that in the doors, but I like to do it as a joke.
Yeah.
I don't like to get as crazy as Jim was, you know, but I like to get fun with it, you know, make it into a joke, a comedy scene, you know, and then that way it smooths it over, in my opinion. I call it like rounding the edges, you know, like taking the Doors, because the Doors were really choppy. Their music was choppy. We didn't have a bass player. Kind of choppy.
Do you guys have a bass player?
Yeah, we got a bass player. Yeah, we got the Swan.
Almost Doors. Almost Doors.
Yeah, we're almost. We got a bass player. But yeah, so yeah, we got Swanee on bass, and he's great. I feel sorry for him sometimes because he has to hold down that one bass line. You know?
Yeah, so does he just like figure out that there's no bass in the Doors? He's just like, I'll figure it out.
Well, there was a bass.
Okay.
It was Ray Manzarek playing with his left hand. So he's playing bass lines with his left hand. But it still has and some of it sounds really good. But a lot of times on the records, a lot of times they'd have a bass player come in.
Yeah.
For certain songs. But it was always, you know, Ray over there with the left hand. But it can be a little choppy, and the sound doesn't come out with that farfisa he's got going on in a big sound, you know, in a big Coliseum. It's going to sound like, I don't know, dirt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Doesn't have that fullness the bass sound does. So I wanted to bring that fullness in. Basically, I was trying to start the band that Jim was going to come back and do with the Doors before he died.
Okay.
Okay, so when he was in Paris, they were talking about him coming back, and he had told Robbie, he says, well, I'm thinking we should bring in that other guitar player and maybe bring in a bass player. So they were going to have two guitar players, and they were going to have a bass player in a new redo, you know.
Yeah.
But it never happened, so.
Okay. And we were just talking about a second ago, like not making it about yourself, making it for the audience.
Right.
How do you accomplish that?
Yeah, that's the trick. Well,
because like you said, it's with ego, it's hard. Like I do this, and I've always told myself, like this podcast is for the musician. You know, like it's the conversation. I can learn something, they can learn something. They can, you know, talk about their projects or whatever, but when I make it about me, that's like a problem. And I found myself doing that before, and like you said, it's just ego. Like I think I'm more important than what the conversation I'm having. And it's hard to like not do that at times. So that's why I ask, like, what do
Yeah.
you do to kind of
I just what's the word? What's the thing we always say is musicians don't overthink it. Just play the damn song, right?
Yeah.
Like just you know the song, sing the song.
Yeah, I interviewed someone the other day, and they were like, "My biggest goal on stage is to get rid of myself."
Yeah, get rid of yourself
Yeah.
and just do the song. Be what it is that is the song, right? And then entertain, use that as a theater.
Yeah.
Like I call it like method acting.
Okay.
So it's like I'm not even there anymore. It's just now Jim,
Yeah.
right? And so sometimes I don't even see what's going on in the audience because I'm not there, right? I'm just doing the motions.
Yeah.
So I don't really see anything. But I try to stay focused. That's the trick. I try to stay focused on people. But
Do you feel almost like you have like who you are, and then you have like who you are on the stage? Like, are those two different people? You
yes,
think? Okay.
almost.
Yeah.
Almost incredibly like that. It's like as soon as the music starts kicking in, it will shift into this whole thing. Like you just close your eyes, and now I'm in the zone.
Yeah.
Right, and now I'm not in the room anymore. There's nothing there. There's just a bunch of lights and heat, right? Because that's all it is anyway, lights and heat. But yeah, because you can't really. The thing is about audience, you can't really see people up there.
Yeah.
Because you got all these lights in your face. It's super hot. I'm wearing a jacket, and long pants, sweating. But see, that's another thing. Sacrificing for the show, right?
Yeah.
Sacrificing me for them, right?
So we did talk about Asheville a little bit, but I want to bring it back. As far as there's a bunch of talented musicians here in Asheville, are there any musicians that are kind of like catching your eyes, like that guy or girl is like, they really got it?
I don't like to do that. I don't like to say who's got it and who got it, because I can feed things.
You can pass a question too if you
Yeah,
like.
that can feed things. I do pay attention to artists. I do pay attention to artists, and they could probably tell you because I reach out to them.
Yeah.
I'll reach out to them through Instagram online or whatever, and I'll leave them little notes, and I'll go, "Oh man, it sounded good, man. I like what you're doing over there." But I've talked to Isaac Hayden.
Yeah.
I really like what he's doing with Sipe and them. That's fantastic. There's another Doors band in town. Reggie.
Okay.
And I love Reggie. I think he's great. We've talked about that before. I told him we should have like an East Coast West Coast battle thing. It'd be funny because I love comedy.
Yeah.
He'd be like, "Well, your Doors band sucks." I'm like, "My Doors band's great. Your Doors band sucks." And then we just do a big thing and get everybody against everybody, and then all play the big show together at the end. As a joke.
Okay.
For fun. But I always wanted to do things like that. Like I always wanted to. One year we almost did it. It was like during the, right after the time, right after like the big BLM movement and everything.
Yep.
All the big movements started going on, and you had the defund the cops and all that. And I got maced down there by those guys. But I was like, I want to. I was thinking, I was like, what I want to do? I want to play a Doors concert, for just the cops. Right.
Okay.
And then in a closed room, and then have like hippies barricade the stage, with like bongs in their hand, just to see if I could get like a psychological reverse thing going on where like the cops rush the stage. I'd be like, look, they do it too, everybody's rushing the stage. What are you gonna do when they get there? I don't know, stand on stage and dance. I don't know, it's gonna be fun, but
Yeah.
I just wanted to do that psychologically just to see what happened. It'd be fun.
So you mentioned fan of comedy too. Do you ever do stand up? Like, is there stand up comics that you like? Like, what's your love of comedy like?
Oh, I love weird stuff. Andy Kaufman.
Okay.
Things that shake you up. Leave you wondering what happened. What's going on here. why was that funny? You know, even though it wasn't funny or funny, you know, sometimes it doesn't have to be funny to be funny. You know,
Okay.
it could be just weird, you know, or some kind of thing, random thing happening.
You have a video on your Instagram that is that exactly. You're walking through, I don't know where you're walking at, but you're like, I just wanted to do one of those videos where I'm walking.
Yeah, I see all those videos all the time, you know, TikTok. There's just always this guy walking through the woods or something. He's like, I'm walking, hey, I'm walking through the
Telling
woods.
you how to live your life or
Telling you how to
something.
live my life
Yeah.
when I'm hiking, you know. Like, oh, I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna go to the mailbox, you know, like, I'm just doing some random acts.
Yeah, he didn't
you know?
even say anything. You were just like, I'm just walking
I'm
here.
just walking, checking the mailbox. All right.
You also have like your comics that you do too. Tell me some about that a little bit.
Oh yeah, so
Because those are a little out there sometimes.
yeah, well, yeah. So you know, the studio JLA Comics. I've always been into, you know, cartoons like Ralph Bakshi stuff, like the old '60s, '70s, like the Fritz the Cat. You know, the weird rated R cartoon movie. You know, where the animals are all naked and doing orgies and stuff. It was always funny as hell to me. So yeah, you know, JLA Comics. You know, I've always been into, you know, into the cartoon stuff. You know, like the old cartoon stuff, like Ralph Bakshi or you know, Robert Crumb. You know, that weird '60s, '70s style of art. You know, where it was kind of, you know, gritty. I'd call it like very gritty, almost like, because I guess it was on paper, but so it had that, you know, blotter type paper, but I guess it was like, but it had that grittiness to it. And I always liked that weird, what you call it? I guess it's called lowbrow
Okay.
art. I've always liked lowbrow art, so that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to, you know, create my own cartoons, which also, it's not just cartoons, you know, it's like, you know, bands need advertisement, you know, when you're doing advertisement on, you know, anywhere,
Yeah.
right? You always want to have like a poster instead of just having a poster on your, you know, Instagram or TikTok, instead of just having your poster. I like to have like movement. So I like to take my posters and turn it into cartoon. And so okay, it's always moving, you know, and
Yeah, they're cool. They're fun.
yeah.
I always like seeing them. Also, so when I did the research for this,
I am making a movie though, about
you are
Asheville.
about Asheville.
Cartoon movie, yeah.
When does that come out?
Man, the story keeps evolving because all the crazy
How
crap.
long is it gonna
you know,
be?
It's 2 hours. It's gonna be
2
2
hours.
hours.
How long of like how much work are you putting into that?
So far, I've put in at least as far, if I did hours, if I said it in hours, it'd be a lot.
Yeah.
But because it just keeps changing and moving and stuff. But I'd say about 6 months.
When do you have an anticipation for when it's going to be done?
I don't know because I'm still writing a lot of stuff,
Okay.
and I'm still adding people because people keep coming into town,
Yeah.
and there's little things that keep happening that would be good into the story.
Yeah.
You know.
I
So-
hope All Jammed Up makes an appearance in it.
Oh yeah, sure. We'll put you there. You're right. We'll have you on the radio. We'll have you. Yeah, we'll have you like announcing all the.
I can come do a voiceover or
Yeah,
something.
well, yeah, of course. We'll have you announcing all the crazy stuff on the radio. Like, we're like, all gems.
What do you do for work to have all this time?
Yeah, I'm retired, man.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Well, yeah, I don't make a whole lot of money in retirement, but
You don't have to go to work, you get to make movies.
well, I had money over here and money over there,
Yeah.
and so sometimes it has to be moved over here and moved over there. But that's the way it,
Yeah.
But it's cool. And then once in a while, and then I would do gigs here and there, and I usually do the channels are really nice to me as far as gig pay and stuff. It's good.
Do you have like a specific gig that kind of sticks out as like this is our best one, or like just most successful, most fun, anything like that?
I think the most fun one we ever had was probably the Jack of the Wood show.
Okay.
Because it was just small and cramped up,
Mm-hmm.
but there was just so many people having such a good time.
Yeah.
And then these two guys were getting married or whatever, and they were like, "We want to sing a song," and I was like, "Well, we're playing a show." They were like, "Well, I'll pay you $300." I was like, "Okay, you can play, you can sing it, you got it." And so they wanted to play like Sublime, right? They wanted to play the Sublime song, and then I was like, "Okay, yeah."
$300, you can play whatever you want.
Whatever you want, sing whatever you want, baby. And my guys were like, "I don't know how to play that song." I was like, "It's just G and D, man, just G and D. You're fine." And so they just started doing it, and those guys came up there to sing it, and they had their phone out because they forgot the words. It was fantastic.
That's fun.
You call the members of your band erotic politicians, right?
Yes.
What the hell does that mean?
Well, that came from like the joke of the Jim Morrison. It was kind of a Jim Morrison joke that he had said a long time ago about the Doors. They were like, "We're like erotic politicians. We'll come out there and piss you off and then make it sexual."
Okay.
So it's like, politicians will piss you off.
The Doors were what, late 60s? That was like their heyday?
Yeah, so they were not in very long, about 5 years.
So their politics were like anti-Vietnam, I'm guessing? Anti-war?
Yeah, he was definitely not. Well, he hated military.
Okay.
Because he grew up on military bases.
Got it. Okay.
Like his father was a big military commander down in Florida.
Okay.
And yeah, he was actually. I've met a couple of people that were in the military that knew him.
Yeah.
And they
His
were
dad?
like, yeah,
Okay.
he knew his dad and knew Jim when he was young, and said he'd always escape from the base, and so they didn't like to. Cause then his dad would get mad at them for letting his son. Then his dad would get mad because letting his son escape from the base. But I mean, I don't know about all that stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I guess it was just I guess you look at back to that time. You had the 68, 69, 70, 71. And you had all that. There's a lot going on back then, right? Mm-hmm. So you had it feels like very much like today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
'Cause you got all this stuff going on.
It's crazy to think that, right? That, what is that, 50 years ago, give or take? Yeah. And it's like, is so long ago and so like, I don't really know the word, but it's so like different, it seems, when really it's
surreal. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not how much different really. I mean, you have two sides just like you did then, and one side is on against this one thing, the other side's for it, and there's still this counterculture that's like opposing it and all for the peace and love. Yeah, it's interesting to think about.
Yeah. Well, you got to watch out for that. You got to watch out for that Protestant Deutsch Christum. Right,
Yeah.
that's what powered it in '44. Mm-hmm. So yeah, and that's coming from all that nationalism side, Protestant stuff.
Which is happening again.
Yeah, it's happening.
Yeah, it's happening again.
Yeah, and everybody's falling for it again.
Yeah, it's like, hey, there's history for a reason.
Yeah.
It's telling you exactly what happened.
Yeah, no, it's funny because I grew up hearing that all my life. Remember history or you'll repeat it. And I'm like, oh, what are you repeating it for?
They repeat it every 50 years, every 15 years, really. Yeah.
I'm like, well, okay, I get on. I'm gonna have to move somewhere.
Where it doesn't happen.
Is there a place I can move where it doesn't happen? Yeah. And then I went up. I guess I was looking at that the other day, right? Like, the freest countries in the world, right? Mm-hmm. I was like, and I was looking at it as apparently Norway, right? Like
Norway, Sweden, Switzerland, Denmark.
And Norway, like the number one freedom country in the world, and yet there's a Doors band. There's a Doors cover band in Norway, and I'm like, who are these guys yelling at?
Yeah, right.
Like,
America.
What are you mad about? Like 5-1, baby. Yeah. What's going on, man? You're in the best country in the world, right? Come on.
Do you have a Doors song or album that's kind of like immediately like that's my favorite?
Yeah, sure. It's not the one everybody knows, right? So we haven't even really played it. Like Shaman's Blues, I love that song. I love it because of it's basically It's the door. Basically, it's the Doors version, in my opinion. The Doors version of trying to do Take Five,
Okay.
because it's a 5/4 rhythm, right? So boom, 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 right? So it's just the off timing.
Yeah.
And so I always like that, and I like the words in it. It's fun.
Has being in a Doors cover, because you've been doing this for 10 years, you said now, right?
Yeah, about
10
10,
or
11.
Has being in a Doors band, how has it changed you being a fan of the band?
Not nothing, not really. That hasn't changed that
Not like
much.
more of an appreciation or more of like this music's easier than I thought, like nothing like that?
No, I already knew the music wasn't easy.
Okay, so it's difficult,
Yeah.
it's difficult music to play.
Yeah, it's not like it's not as free form. You know how like with the Grateful Dead or other bands, you could be really open and free form.
Yeah, you have to play this chorus right, and then it's kind of stay in the key.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the Doors, it just doesn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and like we play the songs halftime, we play them different every time.
Yeah.
You know, because it's because I don't even know if we can play it the same way each time. It just changes. Like each time we play it, the dynamic in the room or the thing or something else is always different.
Mm-hmm.
And so that changes the song, right? So we're not just like a band that just plays a song and then we just do it the same way every time. Because every time we play it, we're in a different place,
Yeah.
and it's different every time, right? So it just feels different, and so it plays different.
Yeah. If the Doors were never a band and you were to still create a band, what would your band be, you think?
Well, right now, so I am working on another group.
Can you tell us it?
I
Or
can
is it
I can
still
give you
secret?
some. No, I can tell you I can give you the idea
Okay.
of what I'm doing. Basically, I want to go back to that really old school outlaw country.
Hank
You know,
Williams.
like Hank Williams, and it's not really the music that I'm looking for, but the attitude,
Okay.
right? So it's kind of like, but I want to mix it with psychedelic, right? So I want to
Okay.
mix it with psychedelia.
Are
And
you going to be, is it going to be original music?
yeah, all original.
Okay.
And I'm writing it to be kind of a mix between, kind of a mashup between outlaw country, psychedelia, but not just like the Grateful Dead psychedelia, but like the Pink Floyd psychedelia, where I
Mixed
can,
with outlaw country.
yeah, where I
Interesting.
can change your groove and your mood as we go. The story, it's kind of like a story.
So kind of like a psychedelic band that is storytelling.
Right.
Okay. Interesting. Do you have any shows booked for that one already?
No, right now I'm just lying. I've got my musicians kind of coming together. We're actually practicing tomorrow.
Okay.
But yeah, we're kind of lining it up and we're keeping it kind of quiet right now. But so we're just kind of putting everything together.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of songs I've been writing. I've been writing a lot lately.
Yeah, and I think you said you're a little older, 53, still creating new projects. I would imagine the reason for creating these projects is simply just self-expression at this point, right?
Well,
Or
it's
is
not
it-
really like I said, it's not really about me.
Well, yeah, but and
You know,
I agree that that's something that I would be interested in. But like, what is the motivation in starting new projects? Like at this point in your life, that's kind of what I'm going at.
Oh yeah, I got you. Yeah, well, music just got to keep going, brother.
Yeah.
That's kind of where that goes. It's like, I get bored,
Yeah.
right? I get bored with just doing one thing, and so I branch out and want to do another thing, and then I want to do another thing. I want to do another thing, and it's kind of like filling up time and space. That's basically what it is. I want to fill up my time and space with music and the party and trying to help society come together more.
Yeah, so you're not as much on like a chase can't talk. You're not on a chase for perfection as much as you're on for just like a chase of like something new, something exciting for you.
Correct. Something
Okay.
new, something exciting for me, and something that connects with people.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's always to me. It's always about connecting with people,
Yeah.
right? From all works, from
Mm-hmm.
all class, taking everybody from all different things who don't normally get along and then putting them all in the same place and giving them hash and let them hash it out.
Yeah.
Right? Give them good music and hash it out. And the next thing you know, we're all like having good vibes and eating grilled cheese.
Yeah, and yeah, for sure, 100%. Again, going back, we kind of talked about this earlier, like getting the big names in the podcast, but then just doing conversations like this. And I've had like artists, and I've had like the podcast that goes out tomorrow is a lady who just makes shirts on lot.
Yeah.
So it's like just the stories that people have. I guess you're more creating the stories. I'm listening to the stories. So it's different, but same in the same vein, you know?
Right. Yeah, it's fantastic. That's what life is, man. Life's a story.
Yeah.
You know, basically, what I always say is that, you know, you have, okay, so the most important thing in life, right, is just basically food, water, shelter.
Yep.
Everything else is just a game. You know, it's just a game for you to have fun with. And if you can connect with people, that makes that game more interesting, right? When you can connect, then the other people are actually playing your game. Mm-hmm. They're playing a part of the game that you're playing, which is how to bring people together.
Yeah.
Right? How do we bring people together to stop fighting? Mm-hmm. Right? I've seen music do it. I've seen do it. You know, you remember World War II, right? They stopped the war to sing, both sides were singing Silent Night. Right? That's fantastic. You know, one side singing Silent Night in Germany, in German language, the other one singing Silent Night in English, and they all stopped fighting to sing the song together. You know, and that's fantastic. That means music has this goal.
Yeah, and it seems like music's one of the few things that can do that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not a lot, but music's definitely one of them.
Right, and so and that's what I mean by it's not about me, right?
Yeah.
Because whenever you make anything about you, whether business ideas, business, anything, you know, like any of these guys, when you're making it all about you, then you're really going to turn off your audience, right? Your audience is going to go, ugh. Just look at what's happening with all these other guys. You know, they've gotten themselves so high up in a position, and now, just like Plato said, now they're going to start turning on you now.
Yeah.
Right? Because you've built yourself up to be so big, now they're going to turn on you. Right? And it happens every time. It's like history repeating itself. Right?
Like we talked about.
Yeah, exactly. You just keep doing the thing over and over again. You know? And so there's got to be another way of doing it. You know, take me out of it. You know, it doesn't have to be about me. It's about the thing. It's about the music. It's about togetherness.
Yeah, and we've talked about a lot of classic music: Grateful Dead, Doors, Pink Floyd. Who are you listening to like today that's kind of catching your ear?
Okay, so there's a band that I was looking up the other day. Well, this one girl named Maggie Rose, right?
Okay.
I kind of like what she's doing. Like, I don't know, it's kind of a newer thing I've heard her doing lately. Just kind of like this Motown. She's kind of bringing this Motown in with this country and with this little bit of jam.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of digging on that. I like the way she sings. She sounds great. I love my friend Magnolia Boulevard. I listen to her a lot.
Do you know Marcus King?
I know Marcus King.
I was going to say, I feel like you'd probably like him if you like Maggie Rose.
I've met Marcus King several times.
Yeah.
He's a good kid. I've told him when I met him, I was like, "You're going to be coming after your boy." I kind of gave him the same speech as trucks. I was like, "You're going to come after you now. First, you got to put yourself into an LLC, and then marry a good-looking woman."
He married a good-looking woman, but he did not marry an older woman.
He didn't marry an older woman.
No.
That happens, Some of them pick the other ones. That's okay. But
Are you a Billy Strings fan?
Oh, I love Billy Strings.
Yeah.
I think he's really good. Very talented. I'm not sure. I would like to think that he did get my message, but I don't know, because he was like, I remember a couple of years ago, he was, I guess he was about to go play in California or whatever, and he was asking people, like, "What should I play?" And I was like, "You got to play some Doors if you're going to Venice Beach, bro."
Yeah.
And so they started putting some Doors in their little set, and I thought that was cool.
Man, I wish you would get my message and come on the damn podcast.
Yeah, you gotta go. You ever go on LinkedIn, man?
Well, I've emailed his his manager a couple times, and she emails me back, but she never really helps me out. So one of these days we'll get him.
You'll get bigger.
One of these days, yeah.
Yeah, you know how it is. Hey, baby.
So the name J Lad.
Yep.
Did you come up with that, or is that off of J Rad?
Okay, yeah, totally. It came off with J-Rad.
Okay.
Yeah, but-
I thought you were gonna tell us that you came up with it first.
No, so the whole reason I started doing this Doors thing anyway, right? So we never even discussed this, but the whole reason I started doing this Doors thing anyway, because I was already here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all my friends were already doing, Grateful Dead bands, and I was kind of playing bass and guitar and stuff at the time, but I wasn't really singing. I wasn't a singer and guitar player, but I've always had a guitar in my hand while I was singing.
Yeah.
Right. And so being a front singer, being a front man, I've never done that before. It was new. But people were like, all my friends around here, they were all doing the Grateful Dead bands. They were all in Grateful Dead bands. They were all doing that. And I love the Grateful Dead, but I just didn't want to do that. I wanted to do something different. And so I was thinking to myself, and then you had the J-Rad guys, and everybody was wanting those J-Rad guys playing. And I was thinking to myself, well, what did people get into before they got into Grateful Dead? And it was the Doors. That's what came to my mind. And I hear that a lot. Because I've talked to people, I ask people questions. They're like, well, who'd you get into before Grateful Dead? And they're like, the Doors. And I was like, oh, right, okay. So I was like, that'd be funny. I was like, you got J-Rad, Joe Russo's, almost Doors. I was like, it'd be funny. I'd do a Jimi Lang's almost, Doors. It'd be hilarious. And I was like, and I could try to smooth it over and kind of make it more like Grateful Dead-ish, but a Doors band,
Yeah.
And that was the goal.
And do you guys play are you guys just playing the Doors? Or I know you said you played that one Grateful Dead song, it's slipping my mind now, but do you guys mix in a lot of Grateful Dead, or do you guys mix in a lot of other songs?
Well, the thing is they, the Grateful Dead and the Doors, they kind of played a lot of the same stuff. I mean, you got so they were apparently both watching the same kind of TV. You know what I mean? Because you had
There's only so many channels back then.
You had the Ajax Stronger Than Dirt.
Okay.
The Stronger Than Dirt commercial, and then the Grateful Dead has that Stronger Than Dirt line, and then Doors had that Stronger Than Dirt line in their song. And so I think everybody was kind of watching the same news channels and stuff at the same time. So it's hard not to be able to singing about the same stuff. You look at the Doors, and a lot of their stuff seems dark.
Yeah.
Dark themed. But then you look at Morning Dew, which is pretty dark. Morning Dew, you're walk out with me in the morning dew of the apocalypse. Whoa,
Yeah.
It's pretty dark.
It is.
And so that's the whole thing. And a lot of those stories, those old cowboy stories, are dark, pretty dark too. So there's a lot of darkness back then, and so that's what they're writing about, whatever was going on around them, and they're trying to find a way out of it. And just like we do, just like we are,
Yeah.
Just like any human's going to try to find their way out of the cave,
Thank God for grilled cheeses.
Thank God for grilled cheeses.
All right, man. Well, we are just about coming up here on our time. Is there anything you want to plug before we wrap up here?
Yeah. No, I'm good.
Cool, man. Well, I'm definitely looking forward to that psychedelic outlaw country.
That was
And
gonna
then
be
next
crazy.
time,
I don't even know what to call it yet.
we'll figure it out.
Yeah. We'll let the audience figure it out.
And the next time J Lad plays, I'm going to try to make an appearance there.
We'll do a big show and let the audience come up with a band name.
Glad we got to do it, man.
All right,
Cheers.
man, I love you, brother.
You just got jammed.
Alrighty, everybody. Welcome back from that interview with Jimi Lang. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Keep an eye out for that Psychedelic Outlaw project. I think could be a pretty cool project there. And I think me and Jimmy might do a little collab on some animations that he does too. So keep an eye out for that, guys. But have a great week. We'll see you on Thursday. And remember, wherever you are right now is exactly where you're supposed to be.
Come along, have a drink with me. We can talk about the world and how the world it turns so slow. Day and night I found cars they drive and planes they fly. I look into the sun and the sky, you're so bright. It's you that I have found. Oh, and I know there's not much longer now. Or if the world would just slow down. The stars, they sail across the sky, and I could watch you dance all through the night. When the rhythm is right, oh, and I know the sun is rising now. Or if the world would just slow down. So you move with me and I'll move with you, and I could spend the rest of my life by your side. It's you that I have found. Oh, and I know not much longer now. Or if the world would just slow down. There's not much longer now. Or if the world would just slow down.